Myself and the other members at the LTB community, the LTB crew, if you will, we were told that we were not real media. So I went out and got the realest fucking media member in the entire state of Colorado. That is Matt McChesney. My name is Mario Vetanze, and this is Altitude Adjustment.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.
First and foremost, Matt, thank you so much for joining me. You're a freaking legend all across the Great Plains, this great state of Colorado, and honestly beyond. I feel like almost every time that I see a 4 or 5-star recruit who plays offensive line, they have something to do with 6'0" strength. So I'm honored and privileged that you're here.
Well, thanks for having me on, bro. It's good to see your smiling face. And yeah, man, let's hit this one out of the park tonight. What do you say?
Yeah, dude. And let's hit the ground running. I mean, you are the savant of the trenches, right? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. You're the trench genius, the trench guru, if you will. So it was well documented, Matt, last year. The Broncos offensive line was great. They were top 10, top 5 in some metrics. I want you to get right into it right now. How is the offensive line looking? What looks good? What looks bad? What looks like shit? Who needs to step their game up? And maybe like a dark horse candidate possibly of making this team, and maybe someone who might be on the way out.
You know, I think the offensive line has gotten better and better and better. You know, each year, each rep, each year, each day, each rep. You know, Sean Payton and George Payton have really put an emphasis on this. You know, they went out and spent the money in free agency and getting Powers and McGlinchey. Both of them hit. That's very rare. You know, you draft a guy like Quinn Miners, he develops into an all-pro player in the 3rd round. He gets paid. Garrett Bowles turns out to be one hell of a player at left tackle for being in the GB zone and all the things that come with Garrett. He sure has turned into a hell of a pro and a leader on this football team and a guy that they can depend on. So those 4 spots are about as good as you get in the league. Now they need to act like it. They need to play to the level they're supposed to play at. The tackles need to lock down the pass rushers one-on-one. The guards need to clean and carry the pocket. They need to be interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? If somebody goes down, the other 3 have got to pick up the guy that steps in for the 4th. And really, that's my point on what we need to improve on. The center position is dog shit. I mean, it's bad. Wattenberg, not very good. Forsythe, obviously, if he's not better than Wattenberg, we got a problem. So I understand center's a hard position, but the simple things that I keep seeing over and over and over again, that's not on coaching anymore. This is, I guarantee you, they have beaten the drum on crossface and hands and sinking into the pocket to make sure it's firm and wide. The calls, aggressiveness in the run game, being always on the backside shoulder of their opponents. So I'm not saying that the center position is going to get us beat, but shit, Mario, the center position is going to get us fucking beat if we don't figure this out. So that's really my biggest red flag there on the offensive line.
I am so glad that you brought up the center position because just last week, Patrick Chiotti and I introduced a brand new segment to this show, and I think that you're going to get a kick out of it. There might the Wattenberg watch. So Matt, just as a little bit of a background, this became a constant thing that Patrick and I talked about last year because it seemed like the one constant on that offensive line is that Wattenberg just wasn't quite living up to the billing. Now, Pat is an OU guy, so he is a big Forsythe fan. He continues to push the Forsythe agenda, although admittedly, he thinks that Forsythe needs to be better. And so in no situation would it be better to have that graphic of the Wattenberg watch than to have you. So I want you to get as specific as you want. What do you see from Wattenberg specifically that he needs to be better at?
You have to be able to win one-on-one battles with nose tackles when they go to 5-0s. Like 5-0 is 5 1-on-1s, and he's a liability when he's single blocked. He doesn't win a lot of reps, and that's bad. So, look, he's also not the leader up front. The center needs to be the point of the spear. He needs to be the guy up there making calls. And he needs to be the most active, like on TV, on the TV copy, on the all 22 copy. You should see this guy walking up and telling everybody what to do and actively pointing and being, almost overdoing it to a point where you're like, Jesus, I got it. I got the call. I don't see that out of him. I feel like he's just kind of along for the ride with the other 4 guys who have all gotten paid, who are all been to Pro Bowls. The other 4 guys are extremely accomplished, and then your center's just kind of there. So personally, I think they need to upgrade the position significantly. I don't know how you do that right now other than to go find a center that's a really good player that's on a 1-year deal essentially because their contract is up and trade for their ass. And see if you can get rid of Wattenberg and some picks because – I know that a lot of people probably won't remember this, but one player can get you beat pretty quick, Michael Dean Perry. I know he played nose tackle, but get your fat ass off the field. There's certain things that as they rear their ugly head in the preseason, and even last year we saw him really struggle. That's what's going to get us beat down the road with this team that's so damn elite and stacked from top to bottom. It's amazing to me that the center position has been lacking the way it has. Now, look, can he shut everybody the fuck up and play really well and figure this out? Of course he can. 100% he can. You've definitely got the support. You have great players around you. You're going to be the center on an unbelievably improved offense. Maybe not the best offense in the league, but definitely improved. But, the center, that might be the difference between having a 100-yard rusher and not having a 100-yard rusher for this 36th game straight or whatever it is.
Right.
So, which is unbelievable to me. I don't know how a Denver Broncos team can go 30-some-odd games without a 100-yard rusher. That just doesn't sound like it.
How could any NFL team go that many games without a 100-yard rusher? We're talking about more than 2 seasons now, Matt.
Bad news.
And you hope that it gets on track. And one thing that I want to circle back to that I really liked what you said was the center kind of needs to be the captain of the offensive line, calling out checks and being vocal. And you could argue that in his first few years in the league, Lloyd Cushenberry maybe didn't have that grown man strength quite yet, right? The pocket got pushed back more often than it should have been with Lloyd. But what made him serviceable to, perhaps above average those first few years in the league, all the guys that I talked to on the offensive line, Matt, they agreed Lloyd Cushenberry was unbelievably smart. He was a leader. He knew exactly what to do in any situation. So that was able to cover up, his physical shortcomings. And I think with Wattenberg, even if he has those physical limitations, which we've seen, which you pointed out, if he could just take command of that offensive line, make the right checks, make the right calls, he can kind of make up for a lot of what he lacks from a physical aspect.
I agree with you 100%. And look, the Broncos have done this since Paradis. They drafted, they had Matty Paradis for, I want to say 8 to 10 years. They let him walk to Carolina. But before that, they drafted Connor McGovern. They developed the shit out of McGovern. He played here for 6 years. They let him walk in free agency. And he went and started and played a bunch of games and was really, really effective as a veteran center for the Jets. For a long time. For a long time, one of my guys. And then they did it with Cushenberry. They drafted Cush to replace Connor, and they developed him for somebody else. He went to the Titans instead of being the Broncos center for 10 years. Why do they keep doing this? Why do you have a rotating door at center? The guys you draft need to be re-signed, and especially when they're good. Now, the problem with Wattenberg and Forsythe is they're not re-signable because they're not the kind of player you want to move forward with. So next year, okay, I thought this year would be a major opportunity to do it. But next year, if the Broncos are what I think they're going to be, which is a at worst 10-win team, at best 13-win team, like 13-4 winning the West.
Agreed.
If that's the team I think we are, with the defense, an improved running game, an outstanding receiving core that I think is going to chop people the fuck up, especially with the addition of Evan Ingram. Very sneakingly was going to creep up on people, because you look at Cortland Sutton and Mims and all that, and you're like, they're good, but I think they're going to be outstanding. And Evan Ingram is going to be an absolute weapon at tight end. So with all that said, I think next year in the first round, at the end of the first round, you could probably get a 10-year center.
Yeah.
You can get a Creed Humphreys type. You can get a guy who's the bet, look at the really successful teams. The Ravens did this. The Chiefs do it. The fucking Steelers do it. Like, at the end of the first round, you can get the best center on the board and just plug and play. Stick that sumbitch in there for 10 years. Re-sign him when it's time to re-sign him. You don't have this problem no more.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're talking about kind of projections of where you see this team to be. One of my favorite things about, like, when you do your show, Matt, when you were on radio, you were one of the only people, arguably the only person, that was like bold enough to be brutally honest about the shit that was going on. Like, you had no problem calling out dudes who were not making their nuts, so to speak. So if this team is to reach that pinnacle of 13 wins, potentially challenging for the AFC West crown for the first time in over a decade, and not just making it to the playoffs, Matt, but going on a run and finally being considered a contender, who do you think, outside of the offensive line, outside of Wattenberg, has to step their game up the most, or who kind of has to take that noticeable next step to kind of take this team from sneaking into the playoffs to firmly planted in them?
Just as a whole, any player?
Whoever you think. Like, especially if there's someone that you don't think has done enough.
I got two.
Okay.
Right. I got, or three. We'll do three defensive guys. Riley Moss is the forgotten man here with the addition of Barron and all these other cats. But that sumbitch can play. And he had a great year last year. And he's going to get targeted a lot, because who the fuck wants to throw it to? No one. So I'm going to say Riley Moss. If Riley Moss plays to the all-pro level, I think he's has the potential to play at. The secondary is going to be just scary good. And they're already scary fucking good. And now you get the addition of him to step in and play at the level he can play and stay healthy. Oh, my God. Now, the second level player, I would say, is Alex Singleton. I know he's going to start. He's got a broken finger or some shit. But Greenlaw stepping in and essentially saying, look, like, Singleton, you're good, but we want a guy who can make even more plays, right? I personally think that's a hell of a hoodie, though. I didn't even notice that. That's good-looking shit right there. That's right. Get that on 60academy.com. You can go check that out and get yourself a hoodie. Good shit, Mario.
And it's really comfortable. And honest to God, I deadlifted 600 pounds in this thing.
Well, yeah, man. That's the way this works, dog. So, and I should be wearing your stuff, but I just have to get stuff made that's gigantic enough for you. That's the only problem. We got jokes. So I think Singleton will be, I think he's going to be unbelievably motivated, and you could see the tackle numbers for that guy go through the goddamn roof. Yeah. And then third, I'm going to say Jonah Ellis on the line, dog. Like the Benito and Cooper combination is lethal. I think you're going to get a ton of pressure, especially Zach Allen. I wouldn't be surprised if you have double-digit three-technique sacks. And I played three-technique a long time. I had 9 sacks when I was a senior at three-technique and in college, and that was pretty hard to do.
That's impossible.
Three-technique is a hard position to rush the passer from, and he eats. That son bitch can get it. So if you're looking at those three guys getting the majority of the attention, I wouldn't be surprised if you see NASCAR situations where, you've got like Zach Allen lining up in a one technique and kind of hopping around. You got Cooper as a spinner. You got Benito standing up. You got Ellis out there standing up. And they're all kind of just ebb and flow doing their thing in what we call radar looks, which is guys standing up and hopping in and out. Baltimore kind of invented this that kid's motor is through the goddamn roof. He plays his balls off. He's athletic. He's active. His pass rush repertoire is impressive. Like the things that he throws at people is next level. It's not really something you would expect to see from a second, third year player. And look, he's motivated. Last year, it's incredible what happens when you get humbled like that and hurt. Deion Dawkins ran his ass over, made him a drawing, a cartoon like of the coyote on the fucking concrete, right? And he took that to heart and he bulked up this offseason and got better and got stronger. And watching him play right now is impressive. That son bitch can get it.
Yeah, and that speaks to the resiliency, right? And this, Matt, you were in the league for a long time. What you look for in guys, when you get punched in the mouth, do you cower like a little pansy, or do you say, all right, you got me this time, I'm going to get you next time? And nowhere has that been more evident, Matt, than what we've seen from Troy Franklin, who famously had one of the worst training camps that a receiver had ever had. I mean, you routinely heard out of camp that there were UDFAs who were really just camp bodies that were having much better camps than Troy Franklin. Matt, it got to the point where there were rumors circulating that he was going to be a cut candidate, even though they traded up for him at the very beginning of the 4th round in last year's draft. And what does he do? He changes his number. He changes apparently everything about himself to the point where people don't even think that's the same guy. So I want, if anybody knows about resilience, especially in this space, it's going to be you, Matt. So what have you seen from Troy Franklin that has impressed you so much, and how is he able to flip that switch to go from zero to hero essentially in the span of 7-8 months?
I'm not sure what happened mentally, but something flipped. I think it started with the playoff game. He had that long touchdown. Maybe that was the moment where he was like, I can do this at the highest level. I am that guy. His rookie year was bad, man. You can ask Bree. I was just like, get rid of this cat, cut his ass. I'm fucking tired of this. And
he was your new Jerry Jeudy, Matt.
Yeah, even like Jerry Jeudy, that's like such a turd. Figures he got traded to the turds. I'm impressed with his resilience. I'm impressed with his pro attitude. I'm impressed with the fact that he didn't turn it on anyone else. He didn't make it about him. He didn't make it about like haters, or it wasn't about Bo or nah. He just kind of took his medicine, and all the fucking, all the experts that are sitting in mama's basement that are like, Chicago backhanding while they're covered in Cheeto dust and fucking hammering Mountain Dew Code Red. They were pretty hard on him. So, he didn't respond to any of that. He just kind of immersed himself in it. He changed his number. I know that there's a lot of people that doesn't think that means nothing, but that's part of your identity as a player. And he
Matt,
was like,
those people aren't athletes, Matt. Matt, those people aren't athletes. I'm just going to say it right now. It's like very, very seldom are you going to find a high caliber athlete that genuinely does not give a shit about his number. Now, maybe not a trench guy, because you boys are just built differently, okay? But you start talking about skill position players. If you are a smaller guy, like a speedy receiver, like a Marvin Mims type, and your number is in the 80s, you're not going to be good. There's just a stigma to it. If you're this is why here's why I think Marcus Golden is going to be a bust. He's number 22. That is the dumbest fucking wide receiver number. That's not a wide receiver number, Matt. So I have no confidence at all in Golden, because he wears a number in the 20s.
Well,
you can't do that.
22 in college, and he tore it up.
But that college is so different, though.
Yeah.
Look, Matt, the quarterback for BYU is wearing number 47.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking terrible.
That's about as bad as it gets.
Teddy Bridgewater wore 50 or something, didn't he? That's pretty gangster, actually. I think you need to,
only Teddy can make that look gangster.
You need to look good to play good. That's just my opinion as a defensive player first. There's a lot of born offensive linemen that are just fucking slobs, and they look like the donut that they just got done eating. So You have to take that into consideration. Some guys really don't give a Tiffany fuck what they look like and piss on themselves. And this is the thing. I always thought it was really disgusting. That's fucking gross. So look, as that being said, I think that there's a lot that plays into Franklin changing his number, changing everything, bro. He just scrapped the old version of himself. Looked like he put on some weight, in a good way, got fucking muscled up a little bit.
And he didn't lose his burst.
I think he wants to be part of the solution. I think he wants to be part of Bo's, rise to fame here as a badass quarterback in this league, especially with Franklin coming from Oregon and that connection and shit. It just makes sense. Why wouldn't it work out? So in order to be part of the evolution here in Denver and part of this, incredible ride that everyone's about to take this year, which is going to be fun as fuck, he had to do his part in order to prove to the coaches that he was that guy, because there's one thing that the Broncos they haven't had in a long, long time, and that's depth, bro. And they got it fucking everywhere. So the 6 receivers that are going to make this roster, the 6th guy is a baller, whoever that guy's going to be.
That's Trent Sherfield, and he absolutely is a baller.
Good.
Yeah. Bree wanted to let us know that boys and jersey numbers is just astrology. And as a Scorpio, Matt, I gotta say, then obviously, then we can agree that Scorpio is the best sign because of Mercury and Gatorade and the whole deal. But as a Scorpio, I agree that the boys and jersey numbers is just like astrology.
Well, it's really important. Your jersey number says a lot.
It's your identity. Yeah. Matt, you were number 60 for the majority of your career, right?
So
that was your number.
The story is, I don't know if it's funny or not, but the story of how you get your uniform is always something. I was when I was in high school, the first day of fucking high school football, I was going to a different high school. All my buddies went to Skyline or Longmont up there in northern Colorado, and I ended up going to Niwot. And I was the only one out of my friend group going to the other place because we lived on a huge ranch and it just zoned that way or whatever the fuck. And we had never been there before. So we're late, and my pops is trying to find the place, and I'm 10 minutes late and shit. And I walk in all late, and the only jersey left was 60. So I took it, and I was like, no one wants the fucking ugly 60 jersey, and I'm going to make.
Were you pissed?
Nah, man. I was like, no one wants it. I'm going to make it look good. So I started rocking it and rocked it ever since. And, I think that there's a lot that goes into your uniform. If you're trying to be number one, you better be a bad motherfucker. If you're trying to walk like the double nickels as a linebacker, you better be a bad man. If you're going to rock 81 or 84 or 89 as a receiver, you can't suck. You know what I'm saying?
And you got to be big.
You're going to go rock 99. That's Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt's number. You might want to get your mind right. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that goes into the number you rock. And there's a lot of people that don't think it means shit. But those people I can't take seriously because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I'm so glad you said that because I agree 100%. Elite athletes like you and me, we care very deeply. Don't fucking laugh, Matt. Linda, first off, motherfucker, listen to me. First of all, you saw my Russell Wilson hype video, okay? I can make every throw that man can. So for you to scoff under your breath to the point where you didn't think I was going to hear it, and me saying that I'm an elite athlete, I take that very personally.
Yeah, us elite body workers like you and me, Mario. Shit.
What are you trying to say, man?
Just saying, bro. I got my fucking technique on and everything on foot rubs. I don't be tickling or nothing.
Well, Justin Tucker and Deshaun Watson are probably looking for some guys, man.
Again, that's more Chicago backhand. That's not really my style.
This is going to turn into a don't ask, don't tell situation. So I'm not going to ask.
Show Mario. Either way works.
I was wondering how long it would take us for us to completely derail this show. Bree's calling HR on us. The ironic thing is Bree actually is HR.
Yeah, I'm the HR at 6-0. People are like, I didn't talk to the HR, and I'm like, hold please, dude. This is fucking Matt from HR. What do you want?
Then they get real mad. All right,
like, I can't believe you work with my kids and teach them more than I do, and you son of a bitch. And I'm like, that makes sense.
I'm going to tell you, segues are weird, so we're just going to get right back on track. We're just going to get right back on the horse here. I'm going to tell you the thing that, like, gives me hesitation. I keep getting asked by everybody and their mother, how are the Broncos going to be? How are they looking? How are they going to be? Like, I am trying to temper my expectations because this time last year, Matt, I didn't think that they were going to be that good. The one thing that I was looking for as a Broncos fan this time, 1 year ago today, is Bo Nix the guy? Is Bo Nix going to be able to improve? We know he's going to make mistakes. We know there's going to be times that he looks like shit. Will he be able to grow from those situations and turn into a franchise quarterback? Or will he repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again, like we've seen with pretty much every quarterback that's ever been drafted by the Denver Broncos ever? Now, we have real expectations. You said the floor is 10 wins. And It should be because they won 10 games last year with, in my opinion, a far inferior roster and a rookie quarterback, right? Now, the only thing is, if you look back at last season, even though it was impressive and they won more games than they were supposed to, on a week-to-week basis, Matt, I don't think that you can say that they beat a team that they genuinely should not have beat or a team that was genuinely better than them. Maybe Tampa Bay earlier in the year, but that was kind of before Tampa Bay caught fire. And then it was Kansas City, but you're playing against, their grocery baggers. So the one thing that gives me a little bit of hesitation, they didn't have that signature win. You got beat by the Chiefs in Kansas City, albeit by a blocked field goal, but the loss is still a loss. You got swept by the Chargers. You had a chance to clinch the playoffs in Cincinnati on the road. You couldn't pull it down. You lost to Seattle and Pittsburgh earlier in the year. Again, that was early, but still losses. So really, outside of Tampa Bay, there weren't any of those really convincing wins of they just went toe-to-toe with a heavy hitter. And we all saw what happened to them in Baltimore. And we're going to just go ahead and pretend like that didn't happen. So put my mind at ease, Matt. Or I guess you don't even have to. If you share this same kind of hesitancy with me, are they going to be able to turn that around and win 1, 2, 3 games where they're going in as a pretty clear-cut underdog?
All right, so the way this usually works is lose big. They were 9-8 with Russell Wilson, and they were losing big games. They didn't necessarily get blown out a lot, but they were losing games they should have fucking won. And they looked bad. Lose small last year. They were losing games they shouldn't have lost. The Cincinnati game should have been a win. They should have locked up the playoffs 3 times before they had to beat Kansas City 38-0. And again, it was the fucking grocery bag game. So they lose small. Next year's win small. I think you're going to see a lot of those games that went flipped for them for the opponent last year. I think you're going to see Denver flipping them for themselves this year. I think those games are going to fall to us, which allows us to have 12, 13 wins. And then the next year is win big. And that's where you're talking about AFC title, Super Bowl type shit. The goal this year is to get off the schneid and win a playoff game. Go win yourself a playoff game. Put yourself in position to be part of the Final Four in the AFC. Go play in division round. You know what I'm saying? You're probably not going to get the 1 seed. I think Buffalo probably get the 1 seed because they play in a fucking dog shit division. If Houston could ever get their shit together, they could probably get the 1 seed because their division is fucking laughable. So, but they're never going to win shit. Let's be real. It's the fucking Texans. So the Broncos, I think that they're on this path where if they don't get another Super Bowl, it's a total failure because that's what Sean Payton was brought here to do, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, bro, there's so many different variables here. It all comes down to the quarterback. If Bo Nix plays to potential and he's a 40 touchdown, 10 interception cat, The Broncos are going to win playoff games. They're going to go to the Super Bowl, and they're going to put themselves in position to win it, especially on a rookie contract. If he doesn't, you're going to be talking about in 3 years like that was a nice rookie season from Bo, but after that he fell off the fucking edge of the earth because they figured him out. I don't know if I believe in the whole, sophomore year curse bullshit. They have tape on him the minute he gets done throwing the ball. So why would they need a year and an off season? Like, I always love people like the sophomore jinx. And I'm like, you think all the defensive coordinators get together and they're like, this weekend we're going to fucking go over Bo Nix. All of you.
No, Matt, they don't watch film on the rookie quarterbacks until they start their sophomore year. It's a gentleman's agreement.
That's what I thought. So, yeah, all that doesn't fucking make any sense. So, I look, if Bo Nix is who I think he is, the Broncos are in a good spot. It remains to be seen. I need to go see it now. Now that everybody knows that you can play and everybody knows Sean Payton's system, and people are fired up about this shit. Let's see how you look when the people are expecting you to be good. That's all I'm saying. And that goes for the entire team. Like, who's really the guy on this team that everyone fears defensively? It's not Surtain. He's not a vocal leader. Like, who's the guy that they fear? They don't want to fucking let down. You know what I'm saying? Like,
probably Jonathan Cooper, honestly.
Cooper? Do you think Agent Zero's that fucking mouthpiece? Yeah. Okay, good. We need one of them. How about offense? Who's the guy on offense nobody wants to let down? It's not Bo.
I don't know if you have that guy, Matt. I don't know, because you want to say Courtland Sutton, but I don't think Courtland Sutton's really that guy.
I don't think it is either. Like, it's not Bowles. You got everybody getting the GB zone. They're like, Garrett, we don't even fucking know what that is. Just eat your.
It doesn't even stand for Garrett Bowles.
Yeah, I understand. I know you and I. Mario.
Well, I'm just saying that for everybody else, Matt. I'm giving everybody a peek behind the curtain, okay? Everyone assumes that GB zone means Garrett Bowles zone.
I bet
it's fun. We're breaking the fourth wall.
Baby Ruths everywhere and
Would you all like to see how it goes down behind closed doors?
In the GB zone, I bet you it's fucking weird. Now, all that shit. That sumbitch has gotten so much better. I never thought that we'd be talking about Garrett Bowles in the light that we talk about him in. So, really, that's a source of inspiration for everybody on the offense. And I'm not just talking about, making jokes. GB was at a point in his career where people were trying to run his ass the fuck out of here quick.
For a few years, Matt.
Oh, yeah. And all he's done is get better and better and better, to the point where he's a pro bowler and on all pro teams and shit. And I'm listening to people be like, is Garrett Bowles a Ring of Famer? Pump your fucking brakes on that one. We're not pulling any Shedeur Sanders here where everybody gets a ring. But I will say that he's really impressed the shit out of me. And he's become a great leader for this franchise. And arguably, I think he sets the tone for the offensive line. It's just as Garrett goes, I think the offensive line goes.
It sounds like you're looking for that guy on the offense in general, that needs to get people bricked up. So to end the show, Matt, we are going to do what is widely considered the greatest segment in all of Denver Broncos podcast history. This, Matt, is Bricked Up. Honestly, pretty self-explanatory, Matt. You tell me what has you bricked up. It could be about the Denver Broncos, or it could be just about life in general. Anything that you want to say, go on a nice little rant about what has you bricked up.
All right, so we're at practice today. All right, I'm the offensive and defensive line coach at Mount Vista. And my son is the starting offensive lineman there, Big Nick, 6'3", 265 pounds. Really handsome son of a bitch. Super handsome. Obviously, he's my kid.
It looks just like you. Of course he is.
Just fucking handsome with no beard, looking like a fucking like just cut out of stone, right? So we're struggling a little bit in blitz pickup period, and we're young. Our quarterback's young. Our whole offense, we only have one senior on the offensive line. We're a young group, but we're good. We got a lot of potential. We're big. We're aggressive. A lot of people sleeping on us, right? So we're looking for that attitude, what we've been talking about in the show. Like, we're looking for that guy on offense and defense to step up. You can't really appoint a fucking leader. It has to happen organically, right? And I'm looking for somebody on the offensive line to go be a prick, like especially the one that wears 60 and McChesney is his name. I need you to go be Captain Asshole. Like, that's kind of our thing. That's what keeps us in the game. So they beat the defense lines up, and it's ones on ones, and they're kind of giving it to us, and we can't pick up this blitz. One of the linebackers is talking shit, and I don't know how to not talk shit, so I immediately pop off, like, shut the fuck up, go do your job, pencil neck. You want to come play fucking guard, you know, like, just, I won't shut up. And my kid is kind of just standing behind me, not saying shit, just kind of fucking laser vision on this kid. So I get done talking shit, and the head coach is like, shut the fuck up, man, get in the back. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And blah, 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 blah. We keep talking, and I'm yelling at him, and offense walks up, and they run a blitz, and this kid fucking blitzes the B gap, and Nick just clamps his ass, wah, and just fucking dumps the fuck out of him, and then jumps on him, like, with his forearm and just right in the side of the neck. And he's like, yeah, motherfucker. And you can hear it everywhere. And then he just kind of pops up, right? He pops up, and there's another defensive lineman that's chasing the ball, and he just takes 2 steps and just catches him, like, on the shoulder, and just decleats his ass. Like, his feet go up in the air, his back and head hit the ground first, like, boom. And then Nick kind of waddles off and fucking runs off to make the play done. He comes back screaming, rah, 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 and, like, we get in the huddle, and he pushes the quarterback out of excitement. He does, like, a barrel roll and shit. And the head coach is like, what the fuck is happening right now? So that was pretty awesome. That's how my day ended.
He's a fucking McChesney. What do you expect?
Yeah,
just like
I've been
single,
waiting for that for a long time. So it was
just a
cool.
Single tear streamed down Matt's face.
Tears of blood.
Just like, nope. And then you were like, get back in there, motherfucker. And he went right back inside.
I was like, don't you dare cry. Don't show anybody you have any emotion.
I'm going to tell you what has me bricked up, Matt. And I'm going to go a little bit more broad strokes here.
Ugh.
Well, okay, settle
broad
down.
Stroking, you're bricked up, huh? It's fucking nasty.
I'm not going to let you distract me. I'm going to get through this. I'm bricked up over the fact that there are actual expectations, real life expectations for this Denver Broncos team, honest to God, for the first time since they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning and the whole gang in 2015. 10 years ago, Matt. For the first time in a decade, in double-digit years, we as fans, podcasters, analysts, experts, media, whether or not you consider us to be media is kind of your opinion, but I digress. There are finally expectations to be had surrounding this team. Because again, like, even though they did well last year, Matt, we already said, like, there weren't very high expectations. Your expectation and your hope was that Bo Nix would show that he's the franchise quarterback. Your expectation and your hope was that, hopefully Sean Payton can rally this team and he can make it the way that he wants it and he can turn them back into a contender. Now, the expectation and the hope is not just to sneak into the playoffs, is not just to get in as a 7 seed, is not to have to clinch in week 18 against a bunch of grocery baggers. I almost said a different kind of baggers, and we might have had to put the NC-17 logo on this show, but I digress. Now we have real life expectations, and we're not those other goofy ass fan bases who like the New England Patriots fans who were like, whoa, we're a legitimately good team. Like, we really could maybe win our division. No, you're still dog shit. Like, you're better than last year, but that's a really low bar. That's not the situation that we have in Denver, because that was our situation last year. And the way that you put it was perfectly right. You were losing big, then you lost small. Now you are going to start winning big. So that's 3 out of the 4 categories that we are hitting this year. And it feels so fucking good, Matt, to finally have something to look forward to look at a team and see no glaring weaknesses about them. I know that we clown on Luke Wattenberg a lot on the show, and we kind of started with it, and you kind of took up that mantle.
Clowning on him. Dude needs to do better.
But, Matt, the fact that, like, that's one of the biggest worries that we have, even though he was solid down the stretch.
That's a good thing.
That's a really good thing. Yeah. The inside linebacker position was shit last year. They shored it up. It's going to be much better. They didn't have a tight end that had more than 17 receiving yards, it felt like, all of last season. And then Evan Ingram went in his first catch in the preseason, almost house called it from the 5-yard line, still ended up with a 50-plus yard reception. They haven't had a dude that could do that since fucking Julian
Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. So in the running back position, dog shit running back room last year. I think the longest run, Matt, was actually Tyler Bidet, who played 3 games and was out all year with a neck injury. And that is absolutely an indictment on Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime. They completely turned that room around. They invested in a guy in R.J. Harvey who looks like he fits Sean Payton perfectly. They brought in a guy in J.K. Dobbins that is the perfect leader for that group and is Mr. Stadium. You know exactly what you're going to get out of him when he's actually on the field. Every single thing that they weren't good at last year, that they sucked at last year and still won 10 games, they're better at. Marketably, noticeably better. And not only that, Matt, the shit that they were good at, they're better there too. I don't think there's a single position on this team and a single category on this team where they are not at least as good as they were last year. So finally, this team has positive expectations. Now they just got to live up to them, and that's when the real fun starts.
Amen to that. I really think we're looking at a potential 12 to 13 win season, maybe more. Where you could see like a 10 or 11 game win streak, honestly. So, and look, even if they don't play well, I still think they're a 10 or 11 win team and off contender, and then scary as shit on the road in the playoffs. Like, no one wants to play this team this year. I equate this year's team, before we're done here in a second. You remember Philadelphia going to Tampa Bay about 5 years ago, and they got blown out by the Bucs. Just fucking blown out, right?
It was the Tom Brady Bucs, right?
Tom Brady Bucs. So they chopped them up. But then after the game, Jason Kelce his famous quote saying, like, he was sitting next to Jalen Hurts in the locker room after the game, like, I'm going to come back next year because we got a real shot to be pretty fucking good. And he came back next year and they won they went to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like they put it all together. And then they ended up winning one 2 years later. So that's what I think the Broncos team is going to be. I think they're on the same rise as that Philadelphia team. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Philadelphia Bronco game in week 5 or 6 is a preview of something that we see down the road that's pretty special.
I love to hear that. I agree 100%. Matt, thank you so much for joining me, man. You're a fucking legend. Anything else? I love you more. Anything else before I let you get out of here? Anything you want to plug? Floor's yours.
Yeah, man. Check out 60 Football Academy, 60academy.com. You know, we placed over 530 Division I athletes in 15 years in that place. We're damn proud of it. On top of that, 0 to 60 podcast is out. We go every day or every week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 4 of the 5 weekdays at noon. We actually had David Pollock, Cincinnati Bengal, Georgia Bulldog, very, very really good defensive lineman back in the day who's very prominent media figure these days. Used to work for ESPN before he told the truth and they ran him out of there. But he was on today, did a great job. So great having David on the show. Go check out 0 to 60 and the body bags. I own an equipment company called 60 Equipment, and we do a blocking shield that's built for double teaming and pass rushing and things of that nature. You can check that out at 60equipment.com. Use the promo code McChesney, my last name, for half off if you're a coach out there or a parent. You're looking for a little bit of an edge, especially for your linemen. So.
Good shit, man. As always, I want to show you this, Matt. Somebody actually asked Sean Payton what he thought of our internet show.
Gosh, your own little internet shows are driving me crazy.
Oh, apparently he's not a fan. My name is Mario Vetanze. That sexy bastard over there is Matt McChesney. 6'0" strength, altitude. We'll see y'all next week. Bye, everybody. Goodbye.
Hey, feel I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit